Hello designers, welcome back again to my channel. My name is Abimboy. In today's tutorial, we'll be learning how to make this luxury Bubu dress. The dress was made with Mikado fabric and African prints, Ankara. Now to achieve this design, it's actually a very easy process and is beginners friendly. Now let's get started. So to achieve this design, you would actually need about 4 to 4.5 yards of Mikado fabric. So the first thing you need to do is to take the length you're working with. So for me, I'm working with length 60 plus extra 3 inches for the fold at the hem. So I have a total of 63. So my fabric was folded into two using the length 63. Then I further went ahead to fold again into two, making the folded part 4 pieces. So if you go ahead to count the fold, you'll have 4 layers altogether. So now I'll go ahead to take my neck measurement. That is 4 inches width and 1 inch for the back depth and 8 inches for the front. So I'll go ahead and mark my 8 inches and also my 1 inch for the back. With my curved ruler, I will connect my back like so and also connect my front like so, forming a V neckline for the front. Then I'll go ahead to cut out my back neckline. Please, I'm cutting out just the back alone first. Now at the center front, from my neck depth for the front, I'll go ahead and mark 1 inch from the neckline to the hem of our dress. So I'll take 1 inch like so and then connect with a straight ruler to the end of the dress. And once I'm done, I'm marking out the 1 inch at the center front. Now for this particular Bubu dress, I made use of the exact wideness of the Mikado fabric. So I only cut out the salvage part to have a smooth edge. And so the next thing now that I would do is to take my sleeve opening at the edge of my fabric like so. So for this sleeve opening, I went ahead to mark 16 inches for my sleeve opening, and then I'll also mark it like so and then rule out my straight line here. I'll connect it like so. So once that is done, the next thing I'll do is to take my shoulder to hip line. So here the hip line I'm working with is 25 inches. So I marked my 25 inches and then ruled out a straight line. On the hip line now, I'll go ahead and take my hip measurement divided by 4 plus extra 3 inches allowance. For this particular part, you can actually do more than 3, you can do less than 3. Depends on how wide you want your Bubu dress to be. So for me, I used 3 inches, and the next thing I would do is to connect my hip measurement to my armhole. Yeah, the armhole, the 16 inches we ruled out, was connected back to the hip measurement on the hip line with a straight ruler. Then I'll give it a curve at that part back to the hip. So now that is done, whatever I have on the hip line, I'll go ahead and mark it out on my hem like so. The exact measurement I took on my hip will be taken at the hem of the dress, and then I'll mark it out with a straight ruler. I'll connect it with a straight ruler. Once that is done, I'll go ahead and cut out my dress, and then I'll notch the shoulder part of the dress on both sides. So now I'll go ahead and open up what I have, the front and the back. And this is what it looks like after opening up my front and my back. And yes, they are both joined at the shoulder side. Now that I've opened it up, I'll go ahead now and slash open my center front. Yeah, remember that we marked out 1 inch on that part, but I'm not actually cutting on that 1 inch. The 1 inch will be used to sew that part. So I'm cutting out, I'm slashing the exact center front opened like so. I will slash open to the very end of my fabric. I'm done slashing, and the next thing I did was to overlock the old Bubu dress. So now I would go to the sewing machine. First, I will mark out the exact part where my opening for the center front will stop. So that is where you see me pin down. And once I've marked that point out, the next thing I will do is to sew on my 1 inch that was marked at the when we were drafting. I will sew on that 1 inch. So from the slit opening on my center front, I will sew down through on my 1 inch straight to my neckline. And that is what you see me doing here. I'm actually sewing on the 1 inch, and then from the opening at the center front down to the neckline. So the next thing I will do now is to press open our 1 inch that was sewn at the center front. So I'll press it open like so. Now that I've given it a good press, I'll go ahead now and put my hemming gum to secure that part. I'll use my hemming gum to hold that part down, and then I'll also press like so. So that is what I will do from the very top to the end where we have the opening. Now I'm done pressing and putting my hemming gum at that part. So the next thing I'll do now is to put my fabric back on fold, just the way it was when we were actually drafting it. So at this point, you will notice that the front would actually be kind of shorter at the side than the back. Please do not panic. It's just because of the 1 inch that we actually took out at the center front. So they will eventually match up by the time you are sewing them together. So now I went ahead to place my pattern back on fold, just the way you are seeing it on the screen. So I'll pin up the neck at the shoulder part. Then at this point is when I will cut out my V neckline for the front. So I'll go ahead now and cut it out. Yeah. To avoid stories that touches the heart, go ahead and pin down your fabric, please. And here's the Ankara fabric I'm working with. So go ahead and iron your paper stay on the Ankara fabric. You can iron your paper stay or your air stay, and then you also determine the length, how long you want your Ankara design to be at the front of your Bubu dress. So I went ahead to determine the length and the width of my design. So feel free to do yours. And then I went ahead to also place it on fold, just the way you're seeing it on the screen. So having done that, the next thing I will do is to place this Ankara under my neckline area like so. I would make sure I match up the center back and the center front of this Ankara together with the Mikado. So if you are doing that, you actually see that is not going to be exactly straight. It will kind of have a little bend just because of the 1 inch that was taken out from the front. So be patient enough to match up your Ankara and your Mikado fabric together at that part. And when I was done matching them up, I went ahead to pin down the Ankara together with the Mikado at the neckline parts. Now that it's pinned down, I would cut out the exact neckline I have on my Mikado. I'll cut it out on the Ankara like so. I'll follow through the front and the back neck pattern. And then this is done already. I'll take out my pin and show us what we have. So go ahead and open up your fabric like so, and then pick your Ankara and place on the Mikado like so, and match them up at the neck area. Go ahead also to pin down at that neck area. Please ensure that you properly match them up. The center front on the Ankara should match up with the center front on the Mikado fabric, same as the center back and also your neckline. Then at this point, you will determine the design you want for your Ankara. So whatever design you have on your mind, go ahead to sketch it out like so on your Ankara print. So now with my curved ruler, I actually gave my Ankara that design, and then I matched it up to the other side of the fabric. Now I'll go ahead and cut out my design, the pattern I marked out here. After cutting out, this is what I have. Now I'll flip my Mikado to the wrong side, and then I will now place my cutout pattern for the Ankara. I'll place it on the Mikado. The Mikado must be on the wrong side, and then the Ankara fabric, I'll place it right side of the Ankara would face the wrong side of my Mikado fabric. As you can see, the part with the stay is actually facing up. So the right side of the Ankara is actually facing the wrong side of my Mikado fabric. So I'll go ahead and pin down. Once I'm done pinning, I will take my fabric to the sewing machine and follow through my neckline pattern. I will sew around the neckline and then also notch the neckline round, and then flip it over to the right side, and then you iron the neck line like so. So all of that I've done before bringing it back to the table. I sew around the neckline, notched it, flip it over to the right side, and then I ironed it down. So now I'm matching up the shoulder on the Ankara together with the shoulder on the Mikado, the center front and the center back, and also I'm going ahead now to pin down my Ankara fabric. Before doing that, I've actually used my pressing iron to give the edge of the Ankara the fold. So I folded it and pressed on. Then I went ahead to sew round the part that I pinned down. And yes, my Ankara and Mikado fabric has actually been secured together. So the next thing is I would go ahead to form the fold on the sleeve part. So remember that our neckline was 4 inches, and with the sewing that is 4.5. So I took the neckline and then went ahead to take 12 inches mark from that part and another 3 inches mark. So I'll go ahead from the 3 inches, I'll fold my Mikado like so, and then pin down the 3 inches mark together with the 12 inches at the shoulder line. Okay, let me take that again. I marked out 12 inches from our neck, and then from that 12 inches, I took 3 inches and then folded it exactly on the 3 inches mark, and then I pinned it down at the 12 inches point at the shoulder line. So that's what you see me doing here. So now I will take my fold straight down to where the sleeve actually ends. Yes, where the sleeve is. So I'll take it straight down like so, pin it down, and I'll go ahead and take it to the ironing table and press it down. Yeah, so go ahead and press down the folded part of our design. And remember that this fold is actually on both sides of the Bubu dress. So you also form your fold, repeat the same thing that was done on this side, on the other side of the dress, and then give it a very good press. So at this point, after pressing, you can decide if you want to sew down the fold or you want to actually use your hemming gum. So for me, because I don't want any stitch line appearing at the front part of the dress, I went ahead to use the hemming gum to hold down the fold. So my hemming gum was placed like so underneath the fold, and then I'll go ahead and press it with the iron. So yeah, press down. Make sure you hemming gum properly secures that part down. And once I'm done with this process of the hemming gum, I'll go ahead and close up my Bubu dress at the side, and also sew down my 3 inches at the hem of the dress. And this is what we have at the end of our drafting and sewing. Thank you all for taking your time to watch today's tutorial. If you find this helpful, kindly hit on the subscribe button and also do well to share with your friends. I would see you all in my next tutorial video. Bye for now.